it down. All right, so I don't know how long this live will last because I'm in my service area here sucks, but we're finally getting a chance to drive this Jeep Gladiator EcoDiesel that we did the stage 2 on. The motor, so we haven't done any of the tuning. We just did the stage 2 part yet, so I'm bringing it home in order to have it closer to my laptop to do all the tuning on it. So what I can say is, by first driving, and I haven't driven one with the emissions on it, unfortunately, but I imagine it drives very similar since we didn't do any tuning. Now, what I can say is that by first driving, I'm actually surprised at how much more powerful the new EcoDiesel feels compared to the other one. Something I want to note, which, because a lot of customers complain about injector rattle or ignition rattle or knocking or whatever on EcoDiesels when they're tuned. I want to be very clear here that this vehicle hasn't been tuned, this Gladiator hasn't been tuned yet, and when you punch it from a dead stop, you get the normal diesel, like right when you first get on it. So I want people to realize that that's actually normal, and the reason why you don't hear that when you have emissions equipment on is because you have all that other crap on your motor, and it might not even be reaching the table that it's hitting now due to exhaust pressure, things. No codes, no limp mode. It's got the full exhaust on it. It's not super loud because there's a muffler on it still. But we are doing 50 miles an hour, and on flatland it's 34 to 40 miles per gallon. You know, obviously the gauge might not be 100% correct, and we'll know after the customer gets to do some testing on it where it's actually at. So right now, completely flat. Let's see where it averages out. I'm going up a little bit of a hill here, doing 35, 37. So needless to say, there's no reason why the Gladiator isn't going to net a quality 30 miles an hour on the highway, which I'm assuming that it gets similar. It must get similar to that stock. I could be wrong. I've never driven one stock, but I like it. I like the Gladiator. I've always wanted an EcoDiesel Gladiator. It's a little on the small side inside of it. The wheelbase is a little bit long for what feels like an SUV, so driving it around kind of sucks, like when you're trying to turn it around, but it's still a lot better than a big truck. Yeah, I'm pretty much averaging 35, 36 miles per gallon at 50, which no big deal. I mean, I think my EcoDiesel Ram would get 25 to 27 at a similar speed. But the thing that you really notice about this compared to the other EcoDiesels is the pickup on it is way faster. And I want to say they make 20 more horse from the factory because they do have a slightly larger turbo. They did modify the internals. It has it is speculated that it has a new crankshaft in it, but it is known that they are using lighter internals in this new one. Now, the lighter internals is more than likely their answer to cracking cranks in half, same as changing the crank material, because the less weight you put on the crank, the harder it is to be able to flex or break it. Yeah, this thing drives amazing, and the pickup is definitely there. God, I wish I get 100 text messages while on here. The pickup is definitely there. It's a hell of a lot faster than the old EcoDiesels are, especially with not having any power added to it. Jesus Christ. So I'm super excited about it. As soon as I get home, I'm going to start working on the power part of the files. I would imagine that the tuning, top tuning, is going to net somewhere between 70 and 100 horsepower on these. So I'm super excited. Obviously, these make more power from the factory than the other ones did, so it's just going to move it up a lot higher. Where our standard tune makes 280 horse, our standard tune on this is going to be north of 300 horse. And that's a big deal, especially for a Jeep. You know, these aren't, God, Jesus, fuck. It's like, I wish you could shoot a video without the notifications showing up on your screen. Like, I got like 10 Snapchats and 20 text messages in the last mile and a half here. But the customer's average was 23 miles per gallon on this vehicle when we got it from him. I would imagine that it is going to be closer to 26 or 27, and I'm glad that we'll hear back from him on how it's doing. I'm hoping to do some transmission tuning on it here as well, but it runs and drives and shifts way better than the older EcoDiesels do. I'll kind of get on it here. in a second. I don't know if you're gonna be able to hear anything over my kids' games or not, but we'll see here. Let's see. It's got decent pickup. I just let off, it was like 64, so that was like 50 to 64, nothing super crazy there. You probably could hear the injection rattle a little bit, which again, something wrong with that. Diesel engines have a rattle to them. That's part of how the ignition system works on it, or the, I don't know if I want to use the word ignition system, but the ignition cycle, whatever you want to call it. Let me try to freaking slow down here and get on it here. Definitely super nice. The suspension rides really well in these. Okay, here we go. Man, that's 0 to 60 right there. Nothing super crazy, but in a stock form, that's moving compared to the old Eco Diesels. So I can't wait to put some tuning on it and maybe see a little bit of smoke, because that was 100% smoke free, which means for those of you who want to stay that way, there's no reason you can't stay that way. And there's no reason why you can't have a little puff and then maybe just a misting when you're making big power. It's just not a lot of customers want that we've talked to. So Jesus fuck, like 20 text messages. But needless to say, I'm actually surprised that this video has stayed live this long. It's a crappy service area, but needless to say, we're super excited about the Gladiator tuning. If you have a Gladiator and you want it tuned, message me. We're going to do a PCM swap service or a bench service. I'm not sure if we can do a PCM swap yet because of VIN number reasons. Changing the VIN numbers in the PCMs is a lot more difficult. A lot of the PCMs, when we change the VIN number, we actually plug them into my personal truck and then change the VIN number. Because that's the easiest way to do it. Through coding, sometimes it doesn't always work, and the last thing I want to do is send you a computer that the VIN doesn't work and then you can't start it. Unless you have a bypass module and you have alpha OBD, then we can do it. But for the Gladiators, bench flashing is available right now, so if you send us your computer, it is $1,200 to do the bench flash engine tune on the Gladiator, and we send the computer back. Whatever shipping you pay to send it to us is the same shipping we'll send it back to you. So if you overnight the computer to us, once we tune it, we'll just overnight it back to you. As of right now, I don't fully know if I want to sell any of my computers. There's a 6 to 8 week national back order, and the last thing I want to do is run out of PCMs and not be able to help anyone out. So we definitely would prefer to do bench tuning. If you're worried about in the future needing a second PCM, when we do the bench tuning, we actually make a copy of your PCM. So that's not an issue at all. You know, when we can get our hands on more used computers in the future, we can sell you your computer back. We can take a used computer, flash your computer onto it, and send that one to you as well. Just options. Our RAM computer will be coming in a few days. So for those of you who have the new EcoDiesel RAM, we're going to be doing the same thing, offering a bench tuning for the EcoDiesel RAM as well. If you have any questions, please let me know. The Stage 2 itself has been perfected. The Stage 2 power tuning is coming next. It's going to be based off of the tuning we use on the older EcoDiesels. In a month or so here, we'll be getting a RAM and a Gladiator on the dyno and doing power files with dyno sheets. But needless to say, on our top tune, it will be 70 horse or more, so it's not a big deal to pick up tuning now because you know it's going to be it's definitely going to be up there. With that being said, the files that we give people right now that we bench tune on their EcoDiesel will be tested on the dyno when we hit the dyno. So if you buy tuning now and have your EcoDiesel tuned, when we get on the dyno, you'll have a dyno sheet for what we did as well. I think that's about it. I'm pulling into my driveway right now, and I'm gonna, like I said, we're gonna do a lot more work on this EcoDiesel right now and this Gladiator. And like I said, it's a nice truck. It gets super hot in here super easy, so I definitely highly recommend getting tinted windows if you have a black Jeep, because these fiberglass roofs, I mean, I don't know if you've ever been in a truck with a topper on the bed of it, but the fiberglass toppers hold let heat through like a motherfucker or hold it in, one of the two. So I'm rolling the windows down because I don't want to melt this dude's interior. So needless to say, everybody have a good day. If you have any more questions on the EcoDiesel, message me.